Airport immigration questions you must know by 2026. Standing at immigration can feel like the most stressful part of any trip. One wrong answer, and suddenly the officer is staring at you like you've done something wrong, even if you haven't. And here's the twist. The questions might sound simple, but the way you answer them can decide whether you breeze through or get pulled aside. This isn't just for people flying into the United States. In 2025 and 2026, countries like the UK, Australia, and across Europe are rolling out stricter ETA and ETIAS systems. That means border officers everywhere are asking tougher questions, cross-checking your story, and in some cases, even phoning your host to confirm details. So whether you're an American heading abroad or you've got friends and family flying in to visit, these are the 11 immigration questions that matter most right now, and the smartest ways to answer them. Question 1. What is the purpose of your visit? The very first thing immigration usually asks is, what is the purpose of your visit? It sounds simple, but this is where people mess up. The trick is to keep it short and confident. If you're on holiday, say vacation. If you're visiting family, just say that. If you're here for a business meeting or conference, that's acceptable. But don't say work unless your visa allows it.
Vacation! Just definitely not secretly working.
And what exactly do you do when you're not, quote, secretly working?
I'm a graphic designer, freelance, but not here. Here I'm only sightseeing.
Right, keep it that way.
And that's exactly what makes you look suspicious. Too many words, too much nervous energy. And suddenly, you're on their radar. Since Trump returned in 2025, U.S. officers are extra strict about anyone hinting at unauthorized work. They'll press harder if you sound unsure. So when is it actually okay to say work? On a business visa, B1, you can say, I'm here for business meetings or I'm attending a trade conference. Meetings and negotiations are fine, but not I'm doing a job or I'll be paid here. On a temporary work visa, like H-1B, H-2B, or O-1, you can clearly say, I'm entering to work at whatever the company name is. On a journalist visa, one visa, you can explain you're on assignment. And with a crew visa, C1/D, it's expected to say you're joining your ship or airline. But if you're on a tourist visa, B2, or the visa waiver/ESTA program, don't say work. Even remote work can cause confusion. A safer phrase is, I might check emails, but I'm here on vacation. And here's something Americans should know. Starting in late 2025 into 2026, if you're visiting Europe, you'll also need something called ETIAS. It's not a visa, but it's a required online pre-approval form. Think of it as Europe's version of the US ESTA system. You fill it out online, pay a small fee, and it links to your passport. As you can see on this map, these are the European countries where ETIAS will apply. Question 2. How long do you intend to stay? The next question is almost always, how long do you intend to stay? It sounds easy, but this is where vague answers cause trouble. The golden rule, give a short, definite answer. If it's 3 weeks, say 3 weeks. Don't ramble with, maybe longer if I like it.
I'll stay until the money runs out. Could be 2 weeks, could be forever.
That's not an answer I'm going to accept. How long are you actually planning to be in the country?
Right, 2 weeks.
Okay.
That makes officers think you might overstay. That's what raises red flags. Officers want a clear plan, not a guessing game. In 2025, U.S. officers are more likely to ask for proof you'll leave, like your return ticket. Having it printed helps, because you may not be allowed to pull out your phone. If your trip is flexible, buy a refundable ticket so you have proof of an exit plan, then adjust it later. Short, confident, and backed up with evidence, that's what gets you through. In the UK, officers can ask for proof of your exit date too, especially once the new ETA system is in place. In Australia, your arrival card even asks how long you'll stay, and if your answer doesn't match your visa, you'll be pulled aside. Across Europe, once ETIAS launches in 2026, expect more routine checks on exit dates as well. Question 3. Where will you be staying? You don't need your full trip plan, but you must have at least your first address ready, whether it's a hotel, Airbnb, or a family home. Officers want to see you've planned ahead.
Somewhere in New York, maybe a hotel, maybe with some guy I met online. Not sure yet.
That's not an answer. Where exactly are you staying and for how long?
And that's where travelers slip up. A vague answer looks suspicious. Since 2025, U.S. officers have been more likely to ask for proof, even calling a host to confirm. The smart move? Print your first booking or carry the address with you. In the UK, with the ETA system rolling out, they'll expect you to show a first booking at the border. In Australia, you must write down your first address on the incoming passenger card. No exceptions. Forget it, and you'll get questioned. Across Europe, officers may ask for proof of a hotel booking too, and with ETIAS starting in 2026, they'll likely tighten these checks. Question 4. What is your occupation? Another question officers like to ask is, what do you do for work? This isn't just small talk. They want to know if you can afford your trip, and if your answer makes sense with the visa you're entering on.
I'm a hacker, but don't worry, I'm a good one. Hey, I'm only kidding.
And that's the kind of answer that sets off alarms. Always keep it simple and clear. Teacher, accountant, IT specialist. If you're unemployed, just say so, but expect to explain how you're paying for your trip. Since Trump returned in 2025, U.S. officers are more likely to press for proof of funds if your job answer sounds shaky. In the UK, officers may ask the same question, but they're mostly checking if you're likely to overstay or illegally work. With the new ETA system rolling out, they'll be cross-referencing your answers more closely. In Australia, they'll ask what you do, but they're even more focused on whether your declared occupation matches your visa type. And in Europe, once ETIAS launches in 2026, expect more questions about your job as part of risk screening before you even board your flight. Question 5. How much money do you have for your trip? They're not being nosy. They want to know you can afford to stay and that you're not hiding huge sums of cash.
Don't worry, it's just $9,999. Totally under the limit.
And how much is in the other envelope?
And that's exactly what can get you pulled aside. Carrying more than $10,000 isn't illegal in the U.S., but you must declare it. If you don't, it can be seized on the spot. Most of the time, though, they just want to see that you can support yourself. A credit card, bank statement, or proof of funds works fine. Since Trump's return in 2025, officers are faster to issue fines or confiscate undeclared cash. In the UK, officers sometimes ask if you have enough funds, especially if your trip looks long. In Australia, you may be asked to show you can support yourself, especially on student or working holiday visas. And for Europe, by 2026 with ETIAS, pre-screening will include financial checks for some travelers, meaning your bank balance may matter before you even fly. Question 6. Did you pack your own bag? One of the simplest but most important questions. It sounds silly, but the reason is security. They're checking you're not carrying someone else's items, knowingly or not.
Well, my mama helped me pack. Does that count?
He really said that!
All right, just kidding.
Sir, this is not a joke.
The only right answer is yes. Even if someone helped you fold shirts, you still need to be certain that nothing suspicious went in. If you hesitate, officers may suspect you've been tricked into carrying banned items. In the U.S., security takes this one seriously. Hesitation means secondary screening. In Australia and New Zealand, this connects to their famously strict biosecurity checks. If you let slip someone else packed food or souvenirs, expect a fine. In Europe and the UK, it's usually asked at check-in before boarding, not at passport control. Question 7. Are you traveling alone? Sounds like small talk, but really, it's about risk. Are you smuggling, being trafficked, or part of a larger group?
I mean, I came with 200 people on the plane, so not really alone.
Of course you arrived with a plane full of people. But did you travel alone?
Keep it clear. If you're solo, just say yes. If you're with family or friends, say who they are. Officers may also check your story matches theirs. In the U.S., solo young travelers, especially with one-way tickets, get extra questions. In the UK, immigration sometimes asks minors or solo females additional safeguarding questions. In Australia, family groups may be questioned separately to confirm consistent answers. Question 8. Do you have family in the United States? They're checking if you might overstay or work under the table.
Somewhere in New York, maybe a hotel, maybe with some guy I met online. Not sure yet.
That's not an answer. Where exactly are you staying and for how long?
Simple is best. If you're staying with close family, say so. If not, just say no. Complicated stories raise suspicion. And if you are staying with family, officers may ask for their address and phone number. In the US, this often triggers more questions about your accommodation. In UK and Europe, claiming to stay with a friend or family sometimes means they'll check that person exists. In Australia, giving only vague answers like staying with a mate can get you stopped until you prove the details. Question 9. Have you visited the United States before? They're cross-checking your passport stamps against your memory.
Yes. Wait, was LAX just a layover? Does that count?
Be consistent. If you transited through an airport, it still counts as entering the US. They'll see it in the system. If you lie or get confused, it looks suspicious. In the US, officers already see your history when they scan your passport. In the UK, same thing. They know if you visited before, so don't guess. In Schengen Europe, past trips are logged and will soon be visible to all member countries under ETIAS. Question 10. Where are you arriving from? Sometimes they already know. They're really testing how consistent you are.
Purpose of visit and where are you coming from?
Iraq? No, wait. Kuwait? Oh, Turkey. I mean, Istanbul.
Sir,
Yeah, Istanbul. Sorry. Long flight.
try to stay awake for the rest of the process, please.
Don't mix up your stops. Be clear about your actual flight path. If you had layovers, just list them in order. They already have the manifest. They're just making sure you do too. In the US, routes from certain countries trigger extra checks. In the UK and Europe, layovers in high-risk zones may spark bag searches. In Australia, long multi-stop routes can raise suspicion you're smuggling. Question 11. Do you have anything to declare? This comes after passport control, but it's just as serious. It covers food, alcohol, tobacco, and big amounts of cash.
Nothing to declare.
Go ahead and open it up.
What? It's just breakfast stuff.
Imported produce and homemade preserves or not. This is a serious violation.
Declaring doesn't mean you'll get in trouble. It just means you're following the rules. Hiding food, plants, or big cash can lead to huge fines. Since 2025, the U.S. has tightened fines for undeclared agricultural items, especially after global disease outbreaks. In the U.S., agriculture is the big one. Even a piece of fruit can get you fined. In Australia and New Zealand, biosecurity is king. Fines are strict for undeclared food, soil, or wood. In UK and Europe, cash over 10,000 euros must be declared, and meat and milk products from abroad are tightly restricted. Before you click away, here's something you really need to know. Customs officers are now checking passengers' phones more than ever. And it's not just about what's in your luggage anymore. It's what's on your device. There are 5 things you should remove before you fly, or you could land in some serious trouble. See that video on your screen right now? That's the one you need to watch next. Airport customs officers are checking your phone more than ever. Remove these 5 things before flying. Click it now so you know exactly what to clear off your phone before your next trip.